Big game around the association tonight. It's game 2 of the NBA Finals. We've got a three-headed, handsome monster here to talk about it. DraftKings contributors, Julian Edlow. He is here in studio, like 3 feet from me.
You're right there.
Yes, I am, buddy. Kenny Ducey is here, Rotowire NBA editor, Nick Whalen. Best bets for tonight, everybody. So you all really liked the Suns yesterday and didn't mind the minus 220 odds on the money line for Phoenix. But do you think the Suns can cover the 5.5 point spread in game 2, Jules?
I do, and it's down to 5. Good news. Some money's coming in Milwaukee. Expected it a little bit. And here we are. But, I mean, we covered all the reasons on, the morning after game 1. I think why a lot of us do prefer the Suns in game 2. I think, as many things that could go better for the Bucks. Middleton still shot almost 50% on those 26 shots. Brook Lopez, despite getting benched, hit 3 of 5 threes. Forbes, 2 of 4 from 3 off the bench. Pat Connaughton, 2 of 4 from 3 off the bench. Like, they hit their shots and they played decent. I just think Crowder going 0 for, Booker going 1 of 8. I think that the Suns have even more room for improvement. Ayton having a dominant matchup, whether he's being covered by Lopez or they have to go small and, he's going right over somebody else. It's a tall order for the Bucks. I think that the Suns go up 2-0 here and get this cover.
Kenny, who covers tonight?
Yeah, I think the Suns do cover. We hit the nail on the head, especially Julian did yesterday and today. I mean, like, when you're talking about the Bucks in the second half of game 1, they shot 50% from 3. The non-Bucks in that game shot 4 free throws. I mean, Giannis is obviously a bad free throw shooter, but they just need to do a better job of getting to the line. But even if they do, I don't think that they're going to be able to sustain this level of three-point shooting, not at least on the road where statistically they don't shoot as well. Chris Middleton has been dreadful away from home all season long and all postseason long. I don't think you can count on another great shooting performance. And on the other hand, I mean, Devin Booker really has not looked good since the nose injury, but we know he has the talent. He's still putting up shots. He could have a very good game here. And the bottom line for me is the Bucks just cannot defend DeAndre Ayton down low. I thought perhaps they'd have a better chance at it than the Clippers would, but Ayton has just been an absolute monster down there. And they've shown that they're not afraid to put Ayton on Giannis. They did that at the start of game 1, and I think that it's going to prove to be a very, very good tactic to defend Giannis Antetokounmpo. They were able to limit him to 20 points. So I just think everything is working against the Bucks here, and plenty more can go right for the Suns. I think they cover.
Whalen, who covers?
Suns cover. We're going 3 for 3. I think it's reasonable to expect a little bit more out of Giannis. I think he probably plays more minutes. He probably takes more shots in this game. But I think he played about as well as he could have in game 1. And the Bucks shot the 3 as well as they have virtually the entire postseason. And they still lose that game by double digits. They're trailing by double digits for almost the entire second half. And even though they made a couple runs, they got it down to 9. They got it down to 7 at one point. Anyone who was watching that game never really felt like Milwaukee had the momentum to crawl back into it. It felt like they were just scratching and clawing their way just to get it down to those margins. So to me, it felt like both teams played like their B-plus game in game 1, and the Suns' B-plus game was just way better than the Milwaukee Bucks. So like Julian said, I think you can expect a shooting regression for Milwaukee. I think maybe that's offset by better shooting at the rim. They were terrible at the rim, especially in the first half. They probably progressed toward the mean there, but they're not hitting 16 threes again. And even if Phoenix has another off shooting night, it's still probably enough to beat this team. And like both these guys said, there's a good chance Phoenix shoots the ball better than it did in game 1.
Kenny, the total for tonight set at 219.5. In fact, I think that just went up. Yeah, so 220.5 now on the DK Sportsbook. You leaning over or under?
I'm going to take the under here. I was kind of surprised to see as many points as we saw in game 1. And when you look at the efficiency ratings for both teams, the Milwaukee Bucks came in with a 113 defensive efficiency rating in game 1, 104 on offense. And the thing about it is that's just a continuation of what we've seen all postseason long. The Milwaukee Bucks, not only has that fast-paced offense gone away, but they've played pretty good defense against even some of the toughest offenses in the league. Even in game 1 against the Nets, when they lost that game and the Nets were healthy, quote unquote, they still managed to hold them at bay. The problem for Milwaukee has always been on the offensive end, and they were dreadful on that end despite the fact they hit so many threes. And now that we're talking about shooting regression, talking about a Suns team that has been really good on defense all season long, I just think that this is another defensive battle here. And Chris Paul continues to slow things down to a painful pace as he has all season long. I think this is more of like a 100 to 94 type of game.
Nick, this total, you feeling the over or under?
Man, that was a convincing argument, but I'm going to go over. I think you look at the pace from game one, and like Kenny said, there is a point to be made that maybe Chris Paul tries to assert himself a little more and bring that pace down, but they were almost at 99 possessions per 100. And, that's quite a bit faster than the Suns played in the West Finals against the Clippers. It's quite a bit faster even than Milwaukee played against Atlanta in the Eastern Conference Finals. So we'll see if that sustains. But, watching that game, how many times did we see a rebound and then a three-quarters court pass down to Brook Lopez for a layup, or the same thing down to DeAndre Ayton? It felt like both of these teams were making a point to push the pace, and it felt like it kind of worked for both teams. Milwaukee, I felt like got maybe a little reckless with some of those passes, Drew Holiday being the main offender on those. But either way, they were getting some easy baskets, and I don't really see either team shying away from that. And even if we really can't count on Milwaukee to hit that many threes, like I said before, I think they shoot better from 2-point range. They're better in the restricted area, and I think Phoenix is better from three. So I think we see kind of a similar score combined to game one, where it pushes just over that 220 number.
So Jules, how do you feel about the total?
Yeah, there's good arguments to be made for both sides. We talked about Milwaukee's hot shooting. That can regress. That obviously points to the under. What Nick's talking about, though, the extra possessions for Phoenix is real, and Chris Paul confirmed that to us after the game. He said, we're going to have to speed things up to win this series, and his teammates have been pushing that on him to keep the pace going and not slow the game down like he can do in the past, and like we saw in some of those Lakers games. So I'm pretty torn. I mean, I kind of lean to the first half over because I think Phoenix is going to come out with that game plan to keep running. And then we can maybe see the possessions tighten up a little bit as the game goes on, or if one of these teams is up big, they try and slow it down. So I kind of think let's see these game plans kind of play out in the first half. I think we'll see some points out of the gate, but then it gets a little concerning. So first half over, if anything, for me. I think this is a game that we need to kind of learn a little bit from in terms of what the pace of this series is going to be.
Nick, favorite Bucks player prop?
I'll throw out a couple real quickly. Giannis over 26.5 points. I think he confirmed to us in game one that he looks really good physically. And like I said at the top, I think he could play 8 to 10 more minutes in this game and probably take 10 plus more shots. I believe he only had 11 field goal attempts in game one. So 26.5, I think, is a favorable number. And then Drew Holiday over 8.5 assists. It didn't feel like a great Drew Holiday game in game one. Obviously struggled scoring, but he's been passing the ball, distributing really, really well. He has at least 9 assists in 5 straight games now, dating back to the last series, at least 9 in 6 of his last 7. So even if he's struggling, the numbers point to him still being the Bucks' primary distributor.
Jules?
Give me Brook Lopez under 13.5 points. I played this under 15.5 in game one. As soon as Giannis got ruled in, it dropped to 13.5, got the number. What happens? Brook Lopez is getting burned on defense. He gets benched, only plays 23 minutes in that game with Milwaukee going small. Everything sounds perfect for a win, except Brook Lopez went 3 of 5 from downtown and scored 17 points before he went to the bench. Bad beat, bad loss. I'm not afraid. I'll go right back to it. Brook Lopez is minus 225 to hit less than 1.5 3-pointers in this game. It's not going to happen again. I'm sticking to it. The matchup with Ayton is horrible. He might get benched again for small ball. Brook Lopez is going under 13.5 points.
Kenny, what do you like here?
I actually do like that over for the threes for Brook Lopez. I mean, I just feel like we look at the last few postseasons for the Bucks, and he has been a guy that they've just, first of all, they've given him the freedom to shoot threes. But so I think that could hit. I don't know what Julian's talking about there. I do agree with maybe he gets bumped off the court, but I think he can get a couple threes. I like the points, rebounds, and assists for Drew Holiday here. Over 33.5. You get minus 106 here on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Nick pointed to it. And Drew Holiday, really for the last 3 games, even with Giannis returning in game one, has flirted with the triple-double. He's stuffed the stat sheet in points, rebounds and assists. even with Giannis back on the floor, he still managed to push towards 10 rebounds. I think that he scores a lot more points here. I think that he tries to get to the line. I think that's a concerted effort here for the Bucks, who hardly got to the line in game 1. And I think that I expect Jrue Holiday to bounce back here and score more points. Another one that I'm looking at as well, just in the spirit of doing a few, I like Chris Middleton under 25.5 points. I think that this is one of those stinker Chris Middleton games. 36% three-point shooter on the road. I'm willing to back that trend here. We have a large sample of the whole season, and we've seen him this postseason just completely go missing on the road. I think he bricks a lot of shots here. Disappointing game for Chris Middleton, and a guy like Jrue Holiday is who they look to step up in the scoring department. So those are my 2 favorites on the Bucks side.
All right, let's go to the other side here. How about favorite Suns player prop, Jules?
Yeah, the guy opposite Brook Lopez. We're going over 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists for DeAndre Ayton. He was 1 board shy of the 2020 game in game 1. I don't see how Milwaukee stops him. Lopez isn't a good matchup. Lopez isn't going to stop him. If Lopez gets knocked off the court again, you're going small ball. You're going a lot of pick and rolls where the Suns are trying to get the bigs out on the guards on Chris Paul and Devin Booker. That led to a lot of lobs for Ayton. He's making his shots. He's getting on the glass. I expect pretty similar a type of repeat performance to game 1. So yeah, I like any combo that you want to play of Ayton overs. I think that's strong in game 2.
Kenny, what do you like on the Phoenix side?
Yeah, I'm looking at the loss of Dario Saric as actually this is something that's going to benefit the Suns. I think that the Suns are going to play better. It's also going to benefit a young man by the name of Mikal Bridges, one of the best young players in the league, one of my favorite players. Over 10.5 points is kind of ridiculous. Guy took 14 shots in game 1, and of course most of that game was played almost all but like 3 minutes. Played without Dario Saric. I think that he sees a little bit of a boost here in minutes. He saw 6 more minutes in game 1, more shots and more points. And the fact that he shot just 5 of 13 and still managed to hit 14 points, I think that we could see a 20-point night out of Mikal Bridges. The injury, big for the Suns, bigger for Bridges. I love taking all his overs, really.
All right, Nick, bring us home on this one.
I like Chris Paul to have a double-double in this game, and I particularly like it at this plus 135 number on the DK Sportsbook. He missed a double-double by 1 assist in game 1 against the Bucks. He missed it by 2 assists in each of the final 2 games against the Clippers. He's been right there virtually every game. He had at one point in this playoffs, counting the end of round 1 and the beginning of round 2, he had 3 straight double-doubles with double-digit assists in each of those games. I think we all like the Suns to roll tonight. I think we like the Suns to shoot the ball better. That's the easiest way for a point guard to pick up assists is just, flip it to the corner and have somebody hit an open 3. I think better shooting all around can push Chris Paul over that 10 assist mark. And obviously the points are pretty much a guarantee for him.
Hey, Kenny, if you were going to play this game in DFS, who would you put into your captain spot?
Yeah, I think I would go with Jrue Holiday, Emerson. You get him in the captain spot at 13.2K. I think it's a really good price on a guy that is probably not going to be too popular after a stinker in game 1 and, of course, a changing series. I think the narrative here, or at least the thought with a lot of people will go, okay, well, Chris Paul, good defender. Phoenix Suns, good defensive team. Maybe this is just not the Hawks. Maybe Jrue Holiday has a rough go of it in the finals. I think that he bounces back in a huge way here. I think he's going to be a big focal point. Again, he's going to get to the line more than 2 times here. He's going to hit more than 4 shots. When you look at the 7 rebounds and 9 assists, this guy has just been incredibly involved for the Milwaukee Bucks, probably their most important player outside of Giannis. And the best part about it is that you get him at 13.2K, you can fit Giannis, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton in your lineup, and you still have $5,800 to work with your last 2 options. I really, really like the value here. I think that Jrue Holiday can easily have a 60-point game and be one of the top 3 guys on the slate. So the fact that he's 13.2K and the captain, kind of ridiculous. That's my captain's pick.
Jules, who is behind the wheel as your showdown captain?
Yeah, so I don't mind Kenny's, game script here where we go contrarian and play Jrue Holiday. You fade Chris Middleton. I'll be doing that in flex spots, though. I'm going to play it safe at captain. It's got to be Chris Paul or DeAndre Ayton for me. Lean to Chris Paul, but I think you can make either work. I think those are the 2 guys that have the best matchups. Those are the 2 guys that, are the closest to guarantees to have big games here. And then we can differentiate elsewhere, whether that's going with, Holiday for the bounce back game and fading Middleton, trying to find out what the Dario Saric minutes means. Maybe that's some Torrey Craig runs, some different guys that you want to fit in there. But yeah, I'm playing it safe at captain.
Nick, 1.5 times the salary, but 1.5 times the points.
Julian's right. I think if you want to play it safe, it's Chris Paul. That's where I'll be leaning tonight. But Kenny's also right. I mean, the biggest thing, it's not even about Drew Holiday for me captaining him. It's the fact that you can get those other three guys, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, into your lineup. And even more importantly, I love the other two guys who you can slot in to those final utility spots, Cameron Payne and Bryn Forbes. Bryn Forbes especially is going to be pretty risky. It's kind of a Hail Mary type of play, but we saw him make an impact. He was part of that crew that was on the court when Milwaukee made that run and cut the lead down to 7 in the fourth quarter. We keep saying we don't expect Milwaukee to shoot the three as well as they did in game 1. I still think that's the case, but if they have a chance to do so, it's going to be because Bryn Forbes plays more minutes. He's really their only true knockdown shooting threat. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit more Bryn Forbes in game 2.